Hello. Welcome. It's Tuesday. I've had a real problem with this week. My husband went to work on Sunday and now I've just completely lost the gist of what day it is. So it's Tuesday. I am joined by the gorgeous Beckie Coupe.
Hello.
And we are going to talk about the brand spanking new changes that were announced yesterday to the Facebook algorithm and the news feed and the way that things are working on Facebook right now. So if you are joining us live, come on in, say hi. Let me know in the comments that you're around. Let me know that you're here. Hi, Beckie. Lovely for you to join us, my darling. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
My absolute pleasure. I'm just going to share this into one of my groups so that people can join in. There we go. So we've got Tina, we've got Emma, we've got Yvonne. Hi everyone. Hi Claire. Hi Jenny. So we're talking about what's happening right now insofar as Facebook's concerned. And they came out with 3 changes yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah.
Which isn't like them to give us, a whole load of information and all in one day.
Yeah. I don't know whether they're kind of getting it in so that it's ready and start 2018 with whatever they've got kind of planned for that. But yeah, nice timing for them. My calm wind down week has gone out the window.
So, shall we talk about the changes themselves, and then we can talk about, what kind of reactions there's been and what people can do to actually make sure that they're getting the very best out of the time that they're spending on Facebook. So first algorithm change, this is one that really annoys me, this one. And it's the littlest one, but it annoys me. It's this snooze button thing, right? And now if you press that downward arrow on people or on pages, you get the ability to snooze them for 30 days. What's this all about?
So for a long time now, you've been able to choose to hide a specific post, or you can choose to hide all posts from a page or a person. So in that little drop-down menu that comes up under the little arrow on the right-hand corner. So that's been around for a while, and this is kind of the next step, I suppose. So rather than deciding you want to hide everything from a page or a person, you can snooze it. And it does exactly that. So for 30 days, you'll stop seeing anything from them. At the end of the 30 days, Facebook will kind of check in with you with a notification and say, do you want to see them again, or do you want to snooze for another 30 days? So it's nothing new in a way. It's just a new addition to that functionality. But yeah, an interesting one.
Yeah, for me, right, what is the point? What is the point? If you don't like a page or a person, unlike the page.
Yeah. I can get it with people, and you might have people on there that you want to stay in touch with, but you don't necessarily want to see everything that's, that they're putting out there. But pages, you could just unlike the page. I wonder whether this is perhaps better, that it gives people that chance to just take a break and then decide whether they want to come back. Rather than
it's a trial separation.
Yeah.
We're not, we're just having a trial separation. See how it goes.
Yeah. So I wonder whether that's going to kind of perhaps become a slight issue. See what you think when people are launching, or when you are in that period where you've got quite a lot of sales messages going out. Are we going to find that people hit the snooze button to kind of get past that period? That's the one downside that I can see with it that we might have to contend with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that the regular user will have no idea that function even exists. Like my husband doesn't even, it was only the other day that we were talking about how you could hide posts.
Yeah.
And, as the general user on a day-to-day basis, lots of people don't know about this functionality. I think it's probably going to have more impact on you if you have a business crowd, because they're probably more aware of the functionality that is available on Facebook rather than just using Facebook day to day.
Yeah.
But yeah, my view is that, you know, when you are building a page and you are following a page, you either want to see the page or you don't. I don't get this in-betweeny hidey thing, you know, follow or don't follow.
Yeah. So as I only get the first part of the question, but here it is. Wonder if they'll show you how many snoozes in our page stats.
Yeah.
I'm hoping so, because you can see in Insights how many hide posts you've got, how many hide all posts, how many have unfollowed. It's not something to get hung up on, but it is just something to check in with every so often and see what is going on. So hopefully they'll add the snooze into that, and then if you notice that number goes up, you'll be able to kind of trace that back to where that's come from. But yeah, I don't think it's one to get hung up on, but you can dig deeper into it, and hopefully they'll bring it into Insights as well.
I think they've got to bring it into Insights. If they're going to put it across the pages, I think that they've got no option but to bring it into Insights, because what they're going to do is they're probably going to say that this is going to impact on your reach and how the algorithm works for your particular page. And in the same way as if you get a lot of hides, you know, if Facebook go, ooh, what's going on there? I think you're going to get the same on snoozing. And I think that that's one of those things, isn't it? And it's also that difference between people who like your page and follow your page. What's that all about?
So that's a similar thing, really. You can like a page and then you automatically follow them to start with, but you can choose to unfollow them, which is the same concept. You don't see anything in the news feed, but you like the page. So again, it's...
Again, you might as well not like the page.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Completely bizarre. Jenny said, thought the follow button gave you that option. Well, yeah, you can follow or unfollow, but now you're going to have the ability to snooze people for 30 days. So I'm thinking of it as like a trial separation. But my view is that if you don't want somebody's message, then don't like their page, and that's okay. And they won't get told if you unlike their page. And if you don't want to hear what they've got to say, then whatever. In my honest opinion, Facebook are not good for small business, said Debs. We're going to get onto that. Are LinkedIn and Instagram worth trying? We will get onto that, because that's the big furores, whether or not they're good for small business, and we're going to be talking about that in a minute. So the second release, I'm doing these in no particular order, is a bigger one, and it's engagement baiting.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So this seems to be a new term. I'd not heard it called that until this announcement from Facebook, but I have seen it happening around Facebook a lot in the past few months, especially this year, I suppose. So engagement baiting is basically where you create a post, and that post is focused on attracting engagement, but in quite a forced and contrived way. So you might have seen it where it's, I think the example that Facebook gave was, like this post if you're an Aries, or you might have seen it where it's a poll, and you can vote on the poll by using one of the reaction buttons. So it's not kind of natural engagement of people just engaging because they're genuinely interested and because they want to kind of open up that conversation. It's because you've asked them to take a specific action. So we've seen this becoming a bit of an issue, because some pages, and this has been getting more and more the case, have been kind of abusing it. So they've been trying to game the algorithm. They've been trying to up their chances of getting the posts in the news feed and getting more eyes on them by forcing this engagement, rather than nurturing genuine organic engagement, which is what Facebook wants. They want people to engage with content because they're really interested in it, because that's what keeps people coming back to Facebook. You don't come back because you want to kind of vote on those polls. It's the connections and the relationships that you create that keeps you coming back for more. So that's what Facebook are very protective about, and that's what this update's all about.
Jane says Facebook bait changes will mostly affect business pages. It will only affect business pages because it's about the algorithm.
No, it'll affect everyone. So even personal accounts, I mean, they're not going to notice it as much because you're not aware of the organic reach on your personal post, but they have said, because what people are doing as well is using personal accounts within their kind of strategy. So whether it be kind of sharing things on multiple places through multiple accounts and multiple pages and groups, or they're using personal pages to try and get around the low organic reach on their business page. So I think Facebook have cottoned onto that as well. People are not going to be able to do that either.
I think Facebook needs to become a little bit more proactive in that as well, because I think that they actually do fall down on implementing their own rule that you can't run a business through a personal profile. And I think that they don't implement that readily enough. They do implement it, but I don't think that they implement it readily enough. I absolutely agree with the forced engagement in that, click like if you're this, or click this if you're this. But I think that it also has a massive impact, even if you're not doing the icky engagement baiting. I saw a post yesterday that got massive engagement, but got very little reach, because I said within it, if you want to shout out anyone or recommend anyone, pop it in the comments. And, whilst it got huge engagement on it, lots of people came in and talked to each other about who they recommended, who they loved. The reach on it was very poor.
And I think that's the thing, and that's why we need to kind of pay attention to what's happening and think about the implications for us. Because whilst, we're not engaging in that kind of tactic intentionally, and probably nobody watching this is, it's kind of that thing of a few bad apples have ruined it for the rest. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it used to be good to just encourage people to comment on a post. Because yeah, and sometimes people feel like they need that permission to engage because it's your page, and you kind of need to open up that channel of engagement. But because this update's rolled out, we do need to be more mindful now of how we're encouraging that engagement and how we're nurturing it, because we can't just directly ask for comments anymore or any other type of engagement.
And I think that the sad thing comes, as you've said, in that, we've always been encouraged to to have call to action is a big thing that Facebook talks about. And if you can't actually call people to action and say, you've got permission to come and chat with me, actually that's a bit shitty.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one we're going to have to work around.
Yeah. And that's going to be a matter of wording, I think. It's just being mindful of the words that you're using, not specifying. It's Facebook's features. That's what they're kind of protective over. They don't want those core features of Facebook to be abused. So your reactions, your comments, your shares. Mm-hmm. So you can still encourage conversation. You can still invite people to tell you what they think about something, or to kind of offer their opinion. You just can't say, comment below and tell me, and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Claire says, so with this engagement baiting, does that stand when pages run competitions saying share and like, and you'll be entered into a prize draw? That's against Facebook rules anyway.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to check this out actually, because it's not clear what the implications are going to be for competitions, but I'm going to double check their guidelines for it and see whether they have been changed. You can't ask people to share a post to enter a competition. It's against Facebook's promotion guidelines. You can't ask people to tag people in the comments either. And the reason is because some people have privacy settings where you can't track those shares and those tags. So you wouldn't be able to enter everybody into the competition. So it wouldn't be fair, which is why it's not allowed. They have always allowed you to ask people to like a post, not a page, but a post, and to comment on it to enter a competition. So I will double check and get back to everyone to confirm if that's still the case or not. And if it's not, I've got a blog post with guidelines to it, so I'll update that as well.
Liz says, one thing I noticed last week, whether it's a coincidence, is that when I share a relevant post from another person's page, I got good reach with it. reach of about 1,000 people and 28 likes before these posts were tumbleweed. I think that there's been an up and down with shared posts, and we've seen that throughout the year with mine. And sometimes we've gone, actually, it's not worth sharing anything. And other times it's, you know, it's had good reach. It's about the relevance, I think, more than anything else, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think it's about sharing really mindfully, picking out stuff that's going to genuinely be of interest to your crowd, and being mindful of where you're sharing from as well. And again, this is not related to the updates that have happened these last couple of days, but it is something I think Facebook are cracking down on, because there's lots of kind of activity going on where people are sharing to kind of force reach, and there's all kind of strategies and tactics linked to that.
Let's head on, right? There are groups of people who are all in one group, and they all share each other's posts so that they get bigger organic reach and their posts become viral. And this has been something that Facebook have been looking at earlier in the year. Probably just a couple of months ago it started, didn't it? I think it started with that big algorithm change in the summer, that there was a crackdown on how that was working with clickbait and with share groups. And I think that, you know, often if you're sharing something that's had huge reach because it's been forced shared, that's when you're not going to get as good returns as sharing something that you actually genuinely love and that is good for you and your audience.
Yeah. And the positive out of that is that we have seen that shares are providing a bit more value. So it did get to the point where if you shared something from someone else, the reach was just rubbish, and it just didn't add much to what you were doing. It seems to have gone back in the other direction now, where if you're sharing and you're doing it in a meaningful way, then it can work well.
Mm-hmm. And I think that also it's about not just sharing for the sake of it, it's about providing commentary with it, and it's about making it valuable.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. Deb says, is it worth the constant battle with Facebook to get it right? I'm too old and tired. I think anything that you are doing now is an evolution, and whether that is your Instagram strategy, whether that is your web presence strategy, whether that is Twitter, whether that is Facebook, I think all platforms are constantly evolving. And I think that as long as you're actually doing things brimmed full with integrity, not trying to get the whole one-upmanship and, you know, and force things, I think that all platforms still have a place.
Yeah, and I think thing is, if you get that foundation strategy that you're happy with, and that you can kind of build on, that will be the mainstay. And then, yes, it's the nature of social media that it changes all the time. Particularly Facebook is probably the one that changes the most and the most frequently. But then it's about small tweaks along the way. So me and Emma work together on Emma's social media strategy. And when things like this happen, we're not throwing the entire strategy out, because it's a solid foundation. We're just looking at the tweaks that we now need to make. So it becomes less of a battle and much more manageable to do it that way, and more successful and sustainable in the long term.
Yvonne says, so I'm not really allowed to share a post from my page to my personal profile. That's okay. It's the people that are using their personal profiles and adding everyone as a friend and trying to build their business from their personal profile that is actually against Facebook rules. Yeah. You know, Facebook very clearly state in their rules that a personal profile should not be used for business purposes. And that's posting directly onto your personal page as your business consistently.
Yeah. But sharing from your page, absolutely fine. If you're using that share button, it's like you say, when you're actually posting the business stuff direct to your personal account.
Yeah. I still see so many asking that though, said Claire. That's the like and share thing. Well, it's a risk that they run. It's a risk that I'm not prepared to take. I'm not prepared to lose my Facebook page by taking that risk on competitions and losing my page for the sake of doing a like and share competition. It's a risk that you're more than welcome to run if you want to, but it is a risk, I think, is the big thing.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing that worries me, is that people do look around and see lots of people doing it. And I've had a few messages this morning about those type of posts where it's Facebook don't like small business, so they're limiting my reach. Can you like and comment to let me know you can see this, and so you see more future stuff? And again, that's now become a risk because, yeah, I mean, it's not a way to kind of long-term engagement or anything meaningful anyway, but it's now putting people at risk of just getting the reach obliterated. And with these changes, they literally this particular one started rolling out yesterday. So a lot of people won't be aware of it yet. So if you look around and people are still doing this kind of thing, they might not even be aware. And it's something that Facebook have said, we're going to kind of give you a couple of weeks and we'll just penalise individual posts so everybody can be aware of what's going on and get your head around it. But a couple of weeks down the line, they're going to start dropping the reach on the entire page. So your whole page will suffer. But they are giving us that bit of space to kind of...
I've got to say, you know, this whole, you know, please, Facebook have been awful again. Please like this post and da-da-da. I've actually stopped following pages that I used to really like because of that consistent, you know, there was one page that I was following, it was every other day.
Yeah. And the thing is as well, there's people advising people to do that. So I feel for the people who are following that advice as well. You know, we're not getting at anyone because I know another message I had this morning was, well, I've seen on kind of the big networking pages and stuff that we're told that that's a good thing to do. So people are just following that advice.
Yeah, and it's sad. It's really sad that they feel, that they need to do that and that becomes such a big thing. But yeah, I think absolutely. Tina says, what about liking your own posts? I see lots of people doing this and I've started to do it myself. Is it a no-no? I'm not bothered either way. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
No, it's fine to do. It's not breaking any rules. It won't kind of add much. Really.
It might be seen by your friends then, because sometimes you get to see things that people have commented or shared or liked or whatever.
Yeah,
but
I think initially, if you do it on every post, tend to find that it doesn't have any benefit because, you know, the algorithm's wise to it. So, but yeah, the odd one might help it get seen a bit more. Yeah,
and I think I find that with reach and engagement, often it is when a post gets good kind of, it's received well quickly.
Yeah,
you tend to benefit from that. And I know that's so hard to put into your strategy. What's going to be received well quickly?
Yeah,
but yeah, I think that either way, it doesn't really matter on that one, Tina. I don't think there's a huge advantage to be gained. I also don't think that there's any problem with doing it.
No, I'd agree.
Liz says, I think that the changes actually support what you guys teach. Yeah. If you're heartfelt and sincere, you should be fine. Yeah. And it will just be a tweak to words and things that you do. Deb says, so I can take a breath and carry on as I am. I'll be fine. You will be fine if you're looking after what you're doing. Jenny says, can you like a post on your business page as you? Yeah, absolutely. That makes me yak and hit the unlike button, hit the pity posts. Keep it real. It's the only way. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. I never even thought of liking my own post. See how awful I am. Doesn't really matter. I don't think it adds anything to the party, but I also don't think it takes anything away from the party. I think it is what it is. So when we're looking at this is about opening the doors to engagement without using the words comment, like, share, click. It's starting to think about the words that the algorithm is going to pick up, isn't it?
And actually, that's nothing new because we've known for a while that it does pick up on those words. It just didn't penalise them to that extent. It wasn't such an issue. So it's kind of been a long time coming. But yeah, I think you just think about the language that you're using and use different ways to encourage that engagement, different words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the third change on our hit list is, the newsroom has called it Newsfeed, FYI, for video, intent and repeat viewership matter.
Quite jargon heavy there.
What the fuck does that mean?
So basically, what it boils down to is that Facebook effectively want to become the next generation of TV. So we've had video for a long time on social media. We've had live broadcasts for the last couple of years. They now want it to become an alternative to sitting in front of the TV or sitting and watching Netflix. They want people to be going to Facebook specifically to watch video, not just kind of coming across it in the news feed and it's just there in amongst everything else. They want people to kind of be going and watching and consuming it in the same way that you would consume a TV program that you love. So
we call it the Bake Off, don't we?
Yeah. So it's that, we call it the Bake Off effect. So it's that waiting for Tuesday night or whenever it is, Wednesday night, that it's on, and exactly like 4 Candles. So
tune in for 4 Candles.
So that people come on for that specific show, as it were, and that's what it's going to become. They come on for that broadcast, and yeah, it's something they look forward to. They know what's going to happen on that day, and it's that concept. So Facebook want more of that. They're looking at ways to encourage more of that in the news feed, and that's what this update's all about. So they're going to be looking beyond just how many video views something's got or how long people have watched it to, are people actively seeking out that video? Are people coming back every Wednesday night to watch that video? If so, we'll make sure we show it them. And that's what this is all about.
So we accidentally got ahead in this strategy.
Yeah.
Pure coincidence that we got ahead in the strategy. Head of the curve. Because I do Woo Woo Wednesday, and every week it's kind of evolved into being a night that's either card readings or it's 4 Candles, and it's become a mainstay. It's become my Bake Off, and that's what we called it, didn't we? You know, we called it my Bake Off, something that people would come back to and would want to come to, and people ask what time it's going to be on, and people are already talking about it before it goes live. So that kind of, the 4 Candles reminds me of that Ronnie Barker sketch. That's what it's, well, she only just realised that this week when she sent me the 4 Candles sketch, but that was what it was based on. It was based on the Ronnie Barker sketch because I thought that I was really, really hilarious. So, yeah, and I think that, does it have to be live? Do you think it is about that? Because they're not saying that, are they? They're not saying it has to be live.
No, and it doesn't. There's nothing to say that it has to be live. They've not said that this update is specific to live videos. It's just more about having that kind of show concept TV program. We almost need to become broadcasters.
They want to be Netflix without paying any actors.
Yeah. Yeah. And part of it is because then they're looking at ways, and it says this within the update as well, that they can then look at ways that they can do adverts in the middle of broadcasts or before them and stuff like that. So all of that's coming. However you feel about it, it's on its way. So we'll see how that pans out. But this is where Facebook's going.
Mm-hmm. And I think that, you know, when you look at it, and if anybody is absolutely clenched and feels really, really sick about this, I'm going to do a video confidence workshop in January, because I know that lots of people are finding that really difficult to consider. But I think that it's a principle that's been used an awful lot over on YouTube, hasn't it? Of a certain show on a certain day will be released onto my YouTube channel, and it becomes expected. People go to watch that particular thing. So it's a strategy that YouTubers have used a lot. And, you know, my little boy, he gets quite anxious if his YouTuber hasn't posted on said date, said time, that he's expecting it. Yeah. And I think that's something that's probably evolved from the YouTube space into Facebook's space, as well as, you know, what are people doing? People are sitting down to watch X, Y, Z. People are getting involved with X, Y, Z. So they want to be YouTube. No, I don't think that they want to be YouTube at all. I think that what Facebook are doing is they're trying to continue to evolve their platform to an extent that it's always moving forward and it's always evolving. And Facebook are a business, right? We're all businesses and we all look to evolve. And I think that, you know, Facebook continue to try and do that, and Facebook continue to buy other social media networks and get involved in other areas and bring all of the best features together. And I know that we've spoken about this before because they're on Instagram and WhatsApp, and there's going to be more, I think, made of WhatsApp, which is a platform I don't even use personally, but there's going to be more things that come in over 2018. And we will talk in 2018 about algorithm changes. We will talk about the whole scaremongering that Facebook is dead. We will talk about, we do every single year. Every year we talk about these things. So the reaction has been in a lot of quarters. Facebook's dead. Facebook hates small business. Facebook are this, that, and the other. What are your comments on that?
Yeah, so this is what I see a lot of it anyway, but particularly when there's something like this, an algorithm update, and then it really kind of, the noise gets even louder. People start to panic. People worry that small businesses are dead. So the last algorithm update we had, there was an article that went viral that caused a huge amount of panic amongst small businesses that said small businesses are just dead on Facebook. That's it. Game over. I totally and utterly disagree.
Can I just interject really quickly? But the irony always is that these Facebook are dead posts are posted on Facebook.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Work that one out. But yeah, and I just totally disagree, because that's not what we're seeing play out. I think, pages that have relied on these engagement-bait tactics and clickbait and, all the other kind of icky strategies that we see flying about, share groups, everything we've talked about, if they're relying on those, then they either adapt and change the strategy, or they will die off on Facebook. But I've not seen any of these kind of negatively affect and kill off small businesses who are kind of following a soulful social media strategy, and not employing those tactics.
I think that we have been impacted in certain areas. I know, and I'm not coming down from the mountains here, and I'm not saying, that it doesn't affect me and that everything's fine. I now get reach in a week that I could have got on one post this time last year. But that's the way it is, and we've got to accept that. We can whinge and we can moan and we can gripe and we can groan, but actually that's not putting the energy into the right things.
Yeah.
It's about making sure that we are looking at what we can do, what is in our control, and how we, I know that my platform is all about community. And I could sit here and go, I'm not going to bother sending that because, what's the point? Only X number of people are going to see it. What's the point in me even doing it? But if it helps one person, if that message helps one person today, then I've done my job.
Yeah.
And I think that, go on, sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say, and the thing is, it's playing out differently on different pages as well. So there is no kind of one, this is where we're at with Facebook. So on your page, we've seen engagement going up all year and then reach up and down. And like you say, not what it used to be. On other pages, particularly smaller pages, I'm seeing reach going up and up and up. It's different trends on different pages, so it's very individual. It depends on the strategy, it depends on your crowd, but it is possible to use Facebook effectively.
And I think that when you look at kind of the differences, we know that from what we saw was that pages over 10,000 were hit with the last algorithm change faster, weren't they? They were hit with the last algorithm change faster. And smaller pages, percentage-wise, do get better reach than bigger pages. Yeah. From a numbers game, I've got people that are, have pages of 1 million, but the percentage reach and engagement might not be the same as mine, which then might not be the same as someone who's got a couple of hundred people on their page. So, it's totally about working out what works for you and what works for your crowd, and how, it's testing, it's tweaking, it's giving it a go. It's being prepared to see what your crowd want from you, I think.
Yeah. And it's like any other aspect of your business will evolve and you'll have to adapt it. And social media is just the same. It's not a do it once and then that's it, you set. for life, and you can keep just doing the same thing. And that's like any aspect of your business. If you stop moving forward, then it becomes stagnant, and then smelly, as we say. And nobody wants a smelly Facebook page.
Nobody wants a smelly Facebook page. We've used that as a hashtag before. And I think as well, it's one that I said this morning in a Q&A that I did in one of my groups. Less is more if more is shit. Mm-hmm. So don't look at trying to fill gaps and fill spaces. Don't look at trying to, just throw things out there. I think it's about being more considered. And I know that lots of people are saying, well, you only get a return on investment on Facebook if you are constantly in Facebook, if you're networking in Facebook, if you are driving traffic to your Facebook page, if you are, and you're better off doing this. Well, do you need to be tied to your Facebook page all the time?
No. And I think that's when you kind of can lose perspective, and that is when the temptation comes. You've got to fill a silence or a gap. You need to be taking a step back from it all the time as well, and putting things into the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm. I think, Deb says, I feel very anti-Facebook at the moment. And you're not alone on that. And I think that is because there is so many people peddling fear out there and peddling they're actually seeking the reaction that Facebook are trying to stop. They're seeking this kind of engagement that, Facebook are trying to stop, and they're saying throw it all in the bin. And then people on LinkedIn are going, we don't want you all over here because we had a lovely place in LinkedIn before all you Facebookers jumped in, and it's not Facebook, and I think that it's about using more than one platform, definitely, because don't put all of your eggs in one basket ever, because you might fall foul. And I've seen people fall foul accidentally and lose their Facebook page. I've seen somebody go to bed one night with a couple of thousand people on the Facebook page, wake up the next morning with nothing. Just gone. Touch wood. It never happens. Oh, I've just woke the dog up. It never happens. But it's about having multiple platforms and also having slightly different strategies to fulfill those platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. So I often talk about not having all of your eggs in one basket, and stuff can happen. So yeah, using different platforms and then thinking about what's going to work on that platform and who it is that you're talking to. So sometimes, although you've got the same crowd, but they either might be slightly different or looking for something slightly different on another platform. So it is then about adapting again.
Yeah. Holly says Facebook isn't dead. Evolution is a massive part of business. Absolutely. And I wrote a blog recently about why I'm so critical of myself, but that's not a bad thing, because it's always about looking at what else you can do, what the next step forward is. It won't disappear overnight. No, Facebook won't disappear. Facebook's a beast, really, in the market. It's a big old beast. But clickbait will become less effective. Yeah. And I think let's just define clickbait a little bit here, because we've always been told that we should have, if we're using links, people need a reason to click that link. So people need a reason for them to make that click. And clickbait is, some of it is ending up somewhere you didn't expect to be.
Yeah.
And going, that wasn't what I clicked on. Mm-hmm. Some of it is, and there's been, lots of pages that have been being paid for sharing other people's blogs, and then all using the same wording that goes with that post, which to some degree has been clickbaiting. So it's got a few different things, and I don't think it's predominantly about interesting headlines in your own stuff, sending them to your own site. I think it's the ickier side of the actual definition of clickbaiting that they're not going to tolerate anymore.
And the algorithm's so sophisticated, it can pick up that nuance. So there's a difference between an exciting and intriguing headline and a misleading, spammy headline that goes somewhere it shouldn't go to. And Facebook have said they acknowledge that nuance, and they're not looking to kind of change the way, you know, they often speak about publishers, meaning the media, because that's massive on Facebook. They're not looking to kind of cause them to come up with boring headlines and to stop, you know, how headlines have been written for decades. It's not about that. They can tell the difference.
The Facebook, you know, the Facebook algorithm is just amazingly clever. And I know that I did a very curiosity leading headline on a blog that I wrote last week about why I didn't want to work with my assistant in 2018, which immediately everyone went, "Oh, what's she done? What's she done?" And that got massive reach. Mm-hmm. So that, you know, I don't think that that's kind of the clickbait. I just wanted to be clear on that, so people didn't think that they could that they couldn't talk about their own things. Yeah. Joni says, "Will it affect groups in the same way?"
Well, none of these are specific to groups. So nothing we've talked about Facebook has said is specific to groups. So I don't expect so.
Mm-hmm. Jenny says list building is important. I think list building continues to be important again, despite the fact that people are going, list building and e-marketing is dead.
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
People have been saying email's dead for as long as I've been working in marketing, and that's over 10 years. So, and it's still here. So it's not dead.
Avia says, what are your thoughts on the 2018 changes happening to the data protection regarding people having to specifically opt in? May not be for the discussion, but something for the future. Well, I think that everything has always been permission-based. I think that the new data protection legislation brings another level to that. The guidance isn't wholly settled as yet with the guidelines. I will discuss it once they have absolutely settled those guidelines. But I think that permission-based marketing is absolutely important. You know, I did a bit of a rant about the ads that had come into Messenger and how that felt like it was, you know, going beyond that, and how I had to get permission to email someone and end up in their inbox. How could this ad end up in my Messenger inbox? And I found that quite... but from an email perspective, you know, I absolutely, it's always been permission based and opt-in based. There's going to be another level to it. I will discuss it once we've got really clear guidelines, because at the moment it seems to be very up and down, and there's been different bits being sent back to gain clarification on, and everybody's got a bit of a different view on it. So once there's some clarity on it, I will absolutely discuss it. Anybody want to ask us anything else? Anything else coming up for you? Anything else you want to chat about? We've been talking for nearly 50 minutes.
Where did that go?
Where did that go? This has been like a 10-minute conversation.
Get me talking about algorithms. I'll be here all day.
It's when you go, oh, Becky, just tell me what I need to know. Just tell me what I need to know. And that's what we're doing right now. We're telling you what you need to know. And what you need to know is, shall we do a roundup?
Yeah.
People can snooze you. Seems pointless.
Is what it is.
You can't do anything about it.
No.
Number 2. I'm bursting for the losers. Number 2. We have a new position of engagement baiting. If you are being genuine, if you are opening the doors to conversation, you'll be all right as long as you make sure that you're careful with your language and what you are asking people to do, and not engagement for the pure sake of it.
Yeah.
Video, they want people to come looking for your videos. So that might be same time, same place next week. Or that might be I release videos on certain days. That might be that I put posts saying, go to my platform in other places to watch this video. As long as they are coming to search out your videos, there are many different ways of doing it. It might be that you go on Insta stories and go, just check out this video that I've done on Facebook. Head over to my platform. It might be that you do something on Twitter to send people to your platform. Whatever that looks like for you, test it, see what works, but don't get overly consumed with it. And Facebook isn't dead. would you like to wrap us up, Beckie?
Yeah, I think I'd just say avoid the panic and scaremongering, avoid knee-jerk reactions, and see all of this as an opportunity. It levels the playing field and gets rid of people that are spreading spam and trying to game the system, and makes it easier for businesses that are just genuinely trying to make connections, get the message out there. It's all a good thing, really. We saw from the whole clickbait thing that improved the experience on Facebook. It helped people who were sharing genuine content to get more eyes on it, because those eyes weren't being drawn to spam and that kind of content. So it's all good overall. So if you just keep that in mind and think about how you can adapt and evolve your strategy with little tweaks to keep things moving forward.
I said I would let you finish off, but I think that the thing is that
always have the final word, Emma.
Facebook are so precious about this. You know, whenever I hear anything from Facebook, it's about user experience. And that's what it boils down to. It boils down to user experience. And if people love what you do, if people want to listen to you, if people are invested and interested in you, you're going to be all right. Yeah. Say something and then you can have the final word.
Oh, you've put me on the spot now. No, absolutely agree. So Facebook want people to spend time on Facebook, as much time as possible, engaging with content, consuming content, and if they don't evolve, then people will leave, and that's what it's all down to. They want people to stay on Facebook. Cool.
Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you, everybody, for watching. It's been lovely to spend lunchtime with you. I hope you have a blessed rest of your Tuesday. And tomorrow night, about 8:30 UK time, we will be having a card sling with the gorgeous True Decor. So please make sure that you bake off us. Speak soon. Bye.